Following the surprise retirement from Eagles wide receiver DeVante Parker, are the Eagles going to add a wide receiver in NFL free agency? That's what we're talking about on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for hanging out here with us. Adam Schefter breaking the news last night that kind of came out of nowhere with Eagles OTAs getting underway this week. After 9 NFL seasons, wide receiver DeVante Parker has decided to retire, he said on Monday night. As much as he looked forward to his time with the Eagles, Parker decided the time had come to spend more time with his family. That includes his 4 children. Here's a quote from DeVante Parker. "I want to see my kids, spend quality time with them. I want to be there for them whenever I can." And then more so from Adam Schefter here, the 31-year-old Parker is walking away from the NFL, looks forward to whatever is next, though. He has no definitive short-term professional plans. Quote, "I'm just going to take things slowly," Parker said. Finishes his NFL career with 369 catches for 5,266 yards to go alongside 27 receiving touchdowns. And Philadelphia did add him to the roster in NFL free agency. He was let go by the New England Patriots, and New England was expected to be on the hook for basically all of Parker's 2024 salary. And now Parker, a jump ball, larger wide receiver, not going to be on this team this upcoming season. And a couple of things that we want to hit here before we take a look at some of the top free agent wide receivers left in free agency. Philadelphia now has 3 spots open on their 90-man roster, and they can fulfill those spots if they want to with OTAs going down this week. The roster does include 10 wide receivers as of right now. You have one of the best top 2 in A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. Brown, 26 years old, locked up on that contract extension. DeVonta Smith, 25 years old, also given that lofty contract extension. The issue with Philadelphia, they're extremely thin now after A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. And who is going to compete and nab that wide receiver 3 role? It's going to be an opportunity for Paris Campbell, 26 years old. He's been injured a lot. He has 4.3 speed. Ainias Smith, late round pick out of Texas A&M. He's smaller, 5'9", 176, 22 years old. Clocked the 4.5 40-yard dash in the pre-draft process. He plays with more wiggle and explosiveness than that 4.5. The short area quickness, being able to make people miss inside of a phone booth, is an intriguing skill set. Then you have Johnny Wilson, who is the antithesis of the size of Smith because he's the tallest wide receiver in the NFL, standing at 6'6", weighing in at 228. He's 23 years old. Could the retirement of DeVante Parker lead to Britton Covey getting more snaps or opportunities at that wide receiver position? He told me on Super Bowl Radio Row in Las Vegas he'd love to get more wide receiver snaps. Then after that, maybe some of these players could be in the fold. Joseph Nagata out of Clemson, UDFA from last year, Austin Watkins, Shaq Davis, and Jacob Harris. For the most part, it is a younger wide receiver room for Philadelphia. And a congratulations to Britton Covey. He is now the oldest wide receiver on this Eagles roster. So that goes to show you the age on this Eagles team at that wide receiver position. Now let's segue to this, looking ahead to the future here and what this retirement for Parker means for Philadelphia. What does it mean right now? Well, wide receiver 3, large question mark for Howie Roseman, this coaching staff, and this team right now going into 2024. And if you think about it, it's one of the larger concerns for Philadelphia going into this upcoming campaign. It's a bigger opportunity for Paris Campbell at wide receiver 3. He's that burner if he can stay on the field. The Eagles have been wanting, or at least wanted, Quez Watkins to be that speed threat, that vertical threat to take the top off of the defense as that wide receiver 3. It didn't work out. He goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. If Paris Campbell isn't able to take that role, Ainias Smith, Johnny Wilson, Britton Covey, a couple of in-house options here for the Birds with offensive coordinator Kellen Moore entering his first year. The Eagles, though, obviously can also sign a wide receiver in NFL free agency. And it's very interesting because in the NFL draft, seemingly, there are so many talented wide receivers coming out from college football every single year, right? But right now in free agency, slim pickings. We'll get to that coming up around the corner. First, coming up later today, we're going to go through my top 10 Eagles to watch at OTAs this week. Do not miss that video. How do you not miss it? You subscribe to the channel and you hit that bell icon. You turn on those notifications. Therefore, whenever we push out a show, whenever we go live, you'll be notified. And the subs this month are going crazy. Sunday's show, we picked up 60 new subscribers, and then I challenged the people, can we do more than that on Monday's show? And up to this point, we've picked up 163 new real ones, and now we're closing in on 75,000 subscribers. Can we beat that number on today's show? Hit that sub button for entertaining, informative, insightful, daily, and year-round coverage of the EAGLES. Also, if you want to support the show and you want to look fresh this upcoming season, you can get your Cooper DeJean shirts. I think they're so fresh. They're flying off the shelves right now. We're sending these things everywhere, and you can get yours today, chatsports.com/DeJean. You want a conversation starter? You're trying to pick up a girl at a bar? She's going to be like, yo, DeJean, where'd you get that shirt? Chat Sports, I watch Eagles now. Producer Chip Chase Sr., yeah, you already know. Chatsports.com/DeJean. We'll put that link down below in the comments section and in the description of this video. Now let's take a look at the top free agent targets for the Eagles at the wide receiver spot if they want to go that route to replace DeVante Parker, because clearly early in the free agency period, they like the idea of bringing in that big-bodied wide receiver. Johnny Wilson is that. But is he going to be ready as a rookie, as a player who is a little bit raw, not a refined route runner, has struggled with drops, and plays smaller than his size? As for the wide receivers who have not signed with the team yet, there are notable names for sure. Michael Thomas, whose career got off to one of the best starts in the history of any wide receiver with the New Orleans Saints, but my goodness, has his play tailed off because of injuries the last few years. Hunter Renfrow also had a nice start to his career, but the last couple of years he's been bad. Obviously, he's more of that prototypical smaller, shorter, slot wide receiver, but can Britton Covey be what Hunter Renfrow has been the last couple of years? I think so. Mecole Hardman had the game winner in the Super Bowl for Kansas City against the San Francisco 49ers on that classic route that the Eagles bit on with Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney in Super Bowl 57 the year prior. He's a little bit of that speed threat that the Eagles could like. Jakeem Grant, he was with the Eagles earlier in the offseason last year on a tryout basis. He didn't make the team. You have Martavis Bryant, who has so much ability, but he got suspended by the NFL and hasn't played in an NFL game in several years. Corey Davis is trying to come back after he retired, a former first-round pick. You have Temple legend Robbie Chosen Anderson, who in the pre-draft process several years ago coming out of Temple ran a 4.2 40-yard dash at his pro day. He's had really good production, but also recently hasn't really done much. Randall Cobb, a lot older, best friend from Aaron Rodgers. That's why he joined the New York Jets last year and got some decent snaps. And then you have Sterling Shepard and Richie James rounding out this list. Richie James at this point, more of a special teamer and returner. And then you look at players like Jarvis Landry. He's trying out for the Jacksonville Jaguars currently and partook in, I believe, their rookie minicamp, if not their OTAs. And then Eagles legend, like DeVante Parker is an Eagles legend. Julio Jones, clearly cooked, but caught a couple of touchdowns with Philadelphia last year. Doesn't really know the scheme now because it's a new scheme under Kellen Moore, and clearly his best days are behind him. So the translation here is that the options for Philadelphia extremely limited, and that's why this wide receiver 3 position is definitely a massive concern. Michael Thomas, probably the most notable name on that list, but my gosh, the last 4 years, he's barely done anything. Now, the first couple of years of his career, I'm talking about a historic start with Drew Brees slinging him the rock. He comes out of Ohio State, and he was one of the best wide receivers in the game there for the first couple of years. The last few years, though, 2020, 7 games played. 2021, didn't play, ankle. 2022, 3 games played. And last year, the injuries continued. 10 games played. Now, the production in those 10 games, not bad, with okay quarterback play in Derek Carr, 39 catches, 448 yards, a touchdown, 11.5 yards per catch. But clearly, because of those injuries, not the same player. And then you flip the page to Hunter Renfrow, and in 2020, not bad out of the slot. 56 catches, 656 yards, 2 touchdowns. In 2021, really good production. In 17 games, 103 grabs, more than 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. But the last 2 years, he's played in 27 combined games, and the numbers have fallen off a cliff, I should say. He really wasn't a part of the scheme, if you want to talk about fit, under Josh McDaniels, and that was a big issue, and because of that, he wasn't really involved in that Raiders offense. Is it because coming out of Clemson, he did have some injury issues, and he's a smaller player, and those injuries have caught up to him? Maybe. Or is he itching at the opportunity to latch on with the team to prove that 2021 season, he can get back to that form? Mecole Hardman, interesting player here because he's so quick. He signs with the Jets in free agency 2 off seasons ago. It didn't work out. It was a disaster. And then he goes to Kansas City, and of course, Andy Reid was able to find ways to utilize him and had the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl where he went in motion, then went out into the flat. Patrick Mahomes able to hit him. And the Niners were confused there, but also limited production last year, 15 catches, 124 yards. So with that, let's round out the show with this. Pick a wide receiver to sign if you do want to go in that direction. Michael Thomas, Mecole Hardman, Hunter Renfrow. Would you rather go with a different player, an other player? If that's the case, and type O for other, Jarvis Landry might intrigue some people, but he didn't even play in the NFL last year. Also, make sure you give me a follow on X, on Instagram, at Chase_Senior. My social media content definitely been popping off. Put out all of my shows there, takes, short form content, and I love to chop it up with the Bird Gang.